Hi friends, thank you for watching The Source, God's Answers to Life's Hard Questions. I ask you please to continue to share and like these videos. It really does make a difference. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. See the light, be the light, and share the light. Now, when I started doing these videos, the viewership was not too high, and obviously I wasn't as comfortable doing them then as I am today. And there were those in my life who suggested that I quit. I got such comments as, "You were such a successful journalist, interviewing the who's who, and now you're doing videos on Torah that nobody's watching? Aren't you embarrassed?" And my answer is no. I don't live for likes, and I don't live for views. I live in purpose. And God forbid we should feel shame to serve God, whether it be by wearing a kippah, keeping Shabbat, keeping kosher, doing videos, or any external expression of serving God. People walk around with purple hair. They wave banners and flags of all kinds, representing all kinds of perversions, of which they are super proud to be a part of. But we should be ashamed to serve God? I think not. And we can all learn from King David, who danced unabashedly before the Holy Ark, so much so that his wife criticized him, feeling it was shameful for a king to dance with such abandon. And King David replied that before God, he would lower himself even further. My friend's ego often gets in the way of serving God. The ego wants to be liked, it wants to be accepted, and it becomes addicted to approval. And we could see this on social media. How important is the like button? So much so that it is used 30 billion times a day. And every time we get a like, it triggers the happy chemical in our brain, the dopamine. And so it's no wonder we manufacture the best posts before we click upload. We ask friends and family about how something sounds, how a picture looks, trying to make sure what we present to the world is the most likable version of ourselves. My question to you, friends, is, what is the price we pay to be liked? Because being liked is not free. The price for admission is often our individuality. We suppress what is different about us, whether it be our opinions, our values, our stance, because we don't want to stand out, we don't want to be laughed at, and certainly we do not want to be disliked. So we become people pleasers, and we tell people what they want to hear instead of what they should be told. And we sit down in acquiescence when there are people and causes for which we should be standing up. And instead, we go with the norm to avoid a storm. But our potential as individuals and nations lies not in sublimating what is unique about us, nor in squelching our voice or silencing our conscience. Our potential manifests when we speak up and act boldly, come what may. And I'm not telling anybody to act in Rambo fashion. Of course, expressing ourselves tactfully should always be given first consideration. But when tact is nothing more than a pact with Satan, find your tongue, find your voice, find your passion, your convictions, your guts, your backbone, and fight back against evil and wrongdoing. Even if you feel like you're not powerful enough, just remember that a little spark can burn down a haunted forest. Did you know that a single domino can topple a domino that is 50% larger than itself? And that larger domino functions by the same equation, and so on. So the exponential impact is breathtaking. Starting off with a 2-inch domino, by the time you get to the 18th domino, it would be as tall as the Leaning Tower of Pisa. By the time you get to the 57th domino, it would practically be as tall as the distance between the Earth and the Moon. One small push in the right direction of a 2-inch domino, and change can be seismic. So push. A herd mentality is a dangerous thing. So be the disruptive voice. Be the clarion call. Make the difference. Because sometimes you gotta dance like nobody's watching, even though everyone is. In this week's Torah portion, we read about the Tower of Babel, wherein God looked down upon those who set to build a tower reaching into the sky. So how did he criticize them? By saying they are one people and they all have one language. So what's wrong with that? I ask you, think about it for a few seconds. They're all of one language. What's wrong with that? What was wrong was that they were so single-minded, so much in lockstep, so much of one language that no one questioned the other or challenged the other as to whether their actions were right or wrong. And such uniformity in mind and action is a dangerous thing. No one kicked down or redirected a middle domino to offset their evil course. Very interesting that in American jurisprudence, all the jurors must agree on the same verdict for the defendant to be found guilty. Judaism has a different view. In the days of the Sanhedrin, the defendant was found guilty if the majority of the judges found him guilty. But if all the judges were unanimous in finding a person guilty, the accused was set free. Because the Torah reasoned that since the members of the judiciary were so smart, at least one judge should have been able to find a reason why the accused was not guilty. The solid consensus revealed that something was wrong with the court. Being of one mindset can have murderous implications. Mindless conformity, it begins with murdering ideas. Then it kills freedom of speech, and soon enough blood flows. Soon it comes for you. I'm not telling anybody that it's easy to stand up against the establishment. It's not easy to be the only voice. It does take courage to speak up against wrong or injustice. And I recall how many people laughed at me when I ripped up my master's diploma from Columbia University many years ago. I was protesting the invitation to Iran's then President Ahmadinejad. Throughout the criticism, throughout the laughing, I kept in mind the famous quote, "It doesn't matter what they call you, it matters what you answer to. And more importantly, it matters to whom you answer. And for me, that is God alone." And it's incredible how it bothers people when you serve God, because it takes their power away. And thus history has shown so many leaders and philosophies which aimed to provoke God and force people away from serving him. And so too was with the people of Babel. They were attempting to seize control of the world away from God. So how did he punish them? He confused their language. No one understood each other anymore. They were no longer of one language. I urge you all to be that voice that rings out in the silent halls of conformity. The voice to make a ruckus when something is not right, whether on a national scale or speaking up for an old lady at the checkout counter when the clerk is being rude. With anti-Semitism hitting an all-time high, according to the Anti-Defamation League, it's become pretty obvious that even though we always try and mix in, we stand out. And it's obvious that being liked is often an unattainable goal. So like yourself, respect yourself, speak up and speak out. Not only to like-minded people who will give you an applause and give you a check mark, write to establishments or individuals to call them out for their misbehaviors, to thank them for their support. And for instance, such companies such as Balenciaga, Vogue, CAA, Adidas, Gap, Foot Locker, they deserve praise and thanks for dropping Kanyewest as a client. His words, his anti-Semitic rhetoric was highly dangerous and could lead to bloodshed. They did the right thing. Where is your thank you? Yes, you have to thank people for doing the right thing, and you have to speak up when they do the wrong thing. Learn from the story of Noah. In a world of complete depravity, he had the courage to be the sole voice of decency, to walk a righteous path. He saved humanity. He certainly wasn't winning a popularity contest, and he certainly wasn't getting likes and heart emojis. He was clearly not speaking the language of the times. And both he and his ark were oddities to laugh at. And then, dear friends, it began to rain. Shabbat Shalom.